We're selling your condo, IRREVOCABLE announced. Our business failed. Sign here. I smiled and produced my deed. $3.2 million Irrevocable Trust 2018. The real estate attorney cleared his throat. That's protected. They have no authority. Mom's face went white. The next morning the calls started. But let me back up. Because the story of how my parents tried to sell property they didn't own starts years before that Sunday brunch meeting. It starts with a pattern I'd watched my entire life. I'm Maya Chen, 34, and I've been the family disappointment for as long as I can remember. My older brother Kevin graduated Yale Law. Partner at a major firm by 32. My younger sister Ashley married a surgeon and lives in a house that gets featured in home design magazines. Then there's me. The one who never quite figured it out. I went to state school. Studied finance, which my parents thought was pedestrian. I worked in corporate banking for 3 years, which they called middle management mediocrity. When I left to start my own financial consulting practice at 27, Dad actually laughed. Consulting, he said, making air quotes. That's what people call unemployment when they're too proud to admit they failed. My parents owned Chen and Associates, a marketing firm they'd built over 30 years. It was successful once. They loved reminding me of the glory days. The big clients. The downtown office. The respect they commanded. By the time I was in my 20s, that glory was fading. But they refused to acknowledge it. Pride is a hell of a drug. Family dinners were performance reviews I never passed. Kevin would discuss his latest case victory. Ashley would show photos of her remodeled kitchen. I would mention a new client and Dad would change the subject. How's the job hunt going? Mom would ask as if my business didn't exist. I have a business, Mom. 12 clients currently. Oh, that's nice, dear. But when are you going to get a real position? With benefits. It wore me down for years. The constant dismissal. The way they introduced me at parties. This is Maya, she's figuring things out. The sympathy looks from their friends. When I was 29, I made my first million. A client I'd advised on portfolio restructuring gave me a significant bonus when they saved $800,000 in taxes. I didn't tell my family. I'd learned by then that success I achieved didn't count in their eyes. Instead, I met with a financial advisor and an attorney. We set up structures. Protection. Strategy. By 31, I was doing extremely well. Corporate clients paying $15,000 to $50,000 for comprehensive financial planning. Investment consulting that earned me percentage points on successful outcomes. I was clearing $400,000 annually, working from home in my pajamas while my family thought I was still trying to make consulting work. That's when I bought the condo. It was a 3-bedroom penthouse in downtown Seattle. Floor-to-ceiling windows. View of the Sound. The building had a gym, a rooftop terrace, and security that actually paid attention. List price, $2.8 million. I paid $3.2 million after a bidding war. My attorney set it up as an irrevocable living trust. Federal protection. Established April 2018. The trust documents were airtight. Nobody could touch it. Not creditors. Not lawsuits. Not family members with bad ideas. I moved in and said nothing. When Mom asked where I was living, I said, downtown. When Dad asked about rent, I said, it's manageable. They assumed I was in some studio apartment barely scraping by. I let them assume. Kevin visited once. Walked through my space with barely concealed shock. How are you affording this? He asked. Consulting pays better than you think, I said. He looked skeptical but didn't push. Kevin was too busy being important to worry about his failure sister's living situation. The truth was, I wasn't just consulting anymore. By 32, I'd transitioned into private wealth management for tech executives. My clients were CTOs and founders who needed someone to manage their sudden money. I charged $100,000 annual retainers. I had 8 clients. I was making $1.2 million annually. My family still thought I was struggling. The next 2 years were the most professionally satisfying of my life. I expanded my client base to 12 high-net-worth individuals. I brought on an associate to handle the administrative work. I established an LLC for my consulting practice. I invested heavily in index funds and commercial real estate. By 34, my net worth was $4.7 million. I still showed up to family dinners in Old Navy jeans and drove a 7-year-old Honda Civic. My parents' pity was easier to tolerate than their jealousy would have been. Meanwhile, their business was dying. Chen and Associates was bleeding clients. The marketing world had moved digital and my parents refused to adapt. Dad called social media a fad for teenagers. Mom thought email campaigns were impersonal. They were hemorrhaging money but maintaining appearances. Expensive office lease they couldn't afford. Country club membership they couldn't justify. Lifestyle their revenue no longer supported. I watched it happen from the outside. Offered help once. If you need financial advice, I could look at your books, I said at Christmas dinner year 33. Dad's face turned red. When I need business advice from someone who works in their pajamas, I'll let you know. Kevin laughed. Ashley changed the subject. I stopped offering. By summer of this year, I heard through Kevin that they'd taken out a second mortgage on their house. Then a business line of credit. Then loans from friends. The debt was crushing them. I felt bad. Genuinely. These were my parents. But every time I considered helping, I remembered every dismissive comment. Every introduction where they couldn't muster pride. Every time my success was invisible because it didn't fit their definition. I wasn't hiding my success. I was watching. Waiting. Testing. Would they ever ask? Would they ever acknowledge I might actually know what I was doing? They never did. The brunch invitation came via group text. Mom, family meeting Sunday 11 a.m. Important. Everyone must attend. Kevin responded immediately, I'll be there. Ashley, wouldn't miss it. Should I bring anything? I replied, see you then. No pleasantries. No explanation. Just the command to appear. I arrived at their house Sunday morning. The same house I'd grown up in, now showing signs of deferred maintenance. The lawn needed work. Paint was peeling on the shutters. Inside, Kevin and Ashley were already at the dining table. A man in a suit sat with them. Late 50s, silver hair, expensive briefcase. Screamed attorney. Maya, you're late, Mom said, though I was exactly on time. Traffic was light, I said, taking a seat. Dad cleared his throat. We've called you here to discuss a family matter. A solution to a temporary business setback. Temporary. Of course. The attorney introduced himself as Richard Vance, real estate attorney. He had papers spread across the table. Your parents' business has encountered cash flow challenges, Vance said carefully. They need to liquidate some assets to restructure their debt. Kevin nodded along like he'd already been briefed. Ashley looked concerned but supportive. We're selling the beach house, Dad said. And your condo. The room went silent. I blinked. I'm sorry, what? Your condo, Mom repeated. The one downtown. We're selling it. You're selling my home? Maya, don't be dramatic, Dad said. We're selling the condo that we've been helping you afford. It's a family asset. My heart rate didn't even spike. I was genuinely curious where this was going. You think you own my condo? We've been contributing to your rent for years, Mom said. We have records of every transfer. That was technically true. They'd sent me money periodically. Help with rent, they called it. Usually around holidays, usually $500 to $1,000. I'd deposited the checks and never corrected their assumption. The money was maybe 1% of my actual mortgage, which I'd paid off in 2021. The property will sell quickly, Vance said. Downtown Seattle market is strong. Estimate $2.90 to $3.10 million. After closing costs and our commission, the proceeds will clear your parents' debt completely. And where exactly am I supposed to live? I asked. Ashley reached across the table. Maya, we know this is hard. But family helps family. You can stay with us for a few months until you find something affordable. Something affordable. In their minds, I was about to be homeless and desperate. Kevin added, it's actually good timing for you. Downtown living is expensive. You'll save money in the suburbs. The suburbs. Like I was a college graduate moving back home. Dad slid papers across the table. We need your signature. Transfer of deed, listing agreement, authorization for sale. I looked at the documents. They'd actually prepared everything. Listed themselves as owners. My name appeared only as current resident. This is quite a lot to process, I said calmly. Maya, our business is at stake, Mom said, voice rising. The company your father and I built for 30 years. You can't be selfish right now. Selfish. That word hung in the air. Just sign the papers, Dad said. We'll handle everything else. I smiled. Actually smiled. Then I opened my purse and pulled out a folder I'd brought for exactly no reason except intuition. The trust documents. The deed. The title report. All of it. I slid my folder across the table, past their listing agreement and opened it to the first page. Before I sign anything, I said, I thought you might want to see this. Vance leaned forward. His eyes scanned the top document and his expression changed. Professional mask slipping into something like alarm. What is that? Dad demanded. The deed to my condo, I said. Want to read it? Mom snatched the paper. This doesn't make any sense. Says, Maya Chen Irrevocable Living Trust, established April 2018. Keep reading, I encouraged. Property value $3.2 million. Purchase price $3.2 million. Trust designation, Federal Protection under IRC 2036. Her voice trailed off. Vance had gone pale. He was flipping through the other documents now. The trust agreement. The title insurance policy. The closing statement from 6 years ago. I don't understand, Ashley said. Maya, did you buy it? In 2018, I confirmed. Paid cash. Well, certified check. Same thing. Kevin grabbed the documents from Mom. This is impossible. You couldn't have had this kind of money. You were 28. You were just starting out. I was doing quite well, actually. Doing well. Dad's voice cracked. Where did you get $3 million? I earned it. The silence was spectacular. Vance cleared his throat. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, I need to speak with you privately. No, Mom said sharply. She's lying. This is fake. She forged these documents to avoid helping us. I almost laughed. The trust is registered with King County. The deed is recorded. Call the county recorder's office. Call the title company. Here's their number. I slid my business card across the table. Not my consulting card. My personal card with my attorney's contact information. You want to verify? Be my guest. Vance was already packing his briefcase. I cannot proceed with this sale. The property is held in an irrevocable trust with federal protection. Your daughter is the sole trustee and beneficiary. You have no legal authority to sell, transfer, or encumber this property in any way. That's ridiculous, Dad sputtered. We've been helping her pay for it. Gifts, I said. Generous gifts which I appreciated. But you've given me maybe $30,000 total over 6 years. My mortgage was $12,800 monthly before I paid it off. Do the math. Kevin was doing the math. I could see it on his face. $12,800 a month that's over $150,000 a year just for the mortgage. Paid it off in 3 years, I added. Saved me about $340,000 in interest. Ashley looked like she might cry. Maya, how is this possible? Financial consulting, I said. Turns out it pays pretty well. The room erupted. You've been lying to us for years. Mom's voice hit a pitch that probably bothered the neighbor's dogs. I never lied, I said calmly. You assumed. I let you. Dad pointed a shaking finger at me. You let us think you were struggling. You took our money. You sent money without asking if I needed it. I accepted it graciously. There's a difference. Kevin stood up, pacing. This is insane. You bought a $3.2 million property at 28? That's what senior partners make. How? Client bonuses, consulting fees, investment returns. I'm good at what I do. But you never told us, Ashley said, wounded. We're your family. Would you have believed me? I asked. If I'd come to Christmas dinner at 28 and said, I just bought a $3.2 million condo, what would you have said? Silence. You would have accused me of lying then too. Or assumed I'd done something illegal. Or married someone rich. Because in your minds I'm the family failure. Nothing I achieve changes that narrative. Mom's hands were shaking. How dare you? After everything we've done for you. What exactly have you done for me? The question came out quieter than I intended. We raised you. We paid for your education. State school on scholarships. I took loans for the rest. Paid them off by 26. We gave you opportunities. You gave Kevin and Ashley opportunities. You gave me disappointment every time I didn't meet your impossible standards. Dad slammed his hand on the table. This is about our business. We're losing everything. And you're sitting on millions while we drown. There was the real anger. Not that I'd hidden my success. That I had success while they were failing. You never asked for help, I said. Not once. I offered to look at your books 2 years ago. You laughed at me. Because you don't know anything about running a real business. I manage $47 million in client assets. I have 12 clients paying me $100,000 annually each. I clear $1.2 million a year working from my condo in my pajamas. I think I know a little about business. The number hit them like a physical blow. $1.2 million? Kevin's voice was barely a whisper. That's more than I make. It is, I confirmed. Ashley covered her mouth. Mom sat down heavily. Dad looked like he might have a stroke. Vance stood up. I'm leaving. Mrs. Chen, Mr. Chen, you need different counsel. I specialize in property sales, not family therapy. Wait, Mom called after him. There has to be something. She owes us. We're her parents. Vance turned back, professional to the end. She owes you nothing. The property is legally hers. Has been for 6 years. My advice. Hire a financial consultant to help restructure your business debt. Perhaps your daughter would be willing to help. He gave me a slight nod and left. The sound of the door closing was deafening. You could still help us, Mom said finally. You have the money. I could, I agreed. Then do it. We're your family. Let me ask you something, I said. If I help you now, will anything change? Will you stop introducing me as the daughter who's figuring things out? Will you acknowledge I'm successful? Will you respect what I do? Dad's jaw clenched. This isn't about respect. It's about family loyalty. Loyalty works both ways. I've spent 34 years trying to earn your respect. Your approval. Your basic acknowledgement that I might know what I'm doing. I never got it. Because you hid everything. Ashley protested. I tested you. For 6 years. Waiting to see if you'd ever ask me about my business instead of asking when I'd get a real job. Waiting to see if you'd notice I wasn't struggling. Waiting for basic curiosity about your daughter's life. Kevin sat back down. So this is revenge. We're losing everything and you're teaching us a lesson. This is boundaries, I corrected. I'm not responsible for your business failures. I'm not responsible for your debt. I'm not your retirement plan or your emergency fund. Mom started crying. Real tears. How can you be so cruel? Cruel was every dismissive comment. Every time you made me feel small. Every family dinner where my success was invisible. Every introduction where you couldn't find one positive thing to say about me. We were trying to motivate you. You were trying to feel superior, I said quietly. And now that you need something from me, suddenly I'm supposed to forget all of that? Dad's face was red. You're just like your grandmother. Calculating. Money obsessed. I'm financially responsible. There's a difference. You're letting your family fail. I'm letting you experience the consequences of your choices. Your refusal to adapt. Your pride. Your spending. None of that is my responsibility. Ashley tried again. Maya, please. Think about Mom and Dad losing the house. Losing the business. Can you really watch that happen? I took a breath. This was the moment. The choice point. I'm willing to help, I said. Relief flooded their faces. But not the way you want. The relief vanished. I'll hire a business consultant to assess whether Chin and Associates can be saved. If they recommend restructuring, I'll pay for that consultant's services. If they recommend bankruptcy, I'll help you through that process. I'll connect you with a financial advisor to create a realistic budget. I'll review any debt settlement offers. That's not help, Dad said bitterly. That's an audit. That's professional help. What you need. Not a blank check. We need money, Maya. Real help. Money won't fix a business model that doesn't work. It'll just delay the inevitable. Mom stood up abruptly. Get out. Excuse me. Get out of our house. If you won't help your family, you're not welcome here. Kevin and Ashley looked shocked but said nothing. I gathered my documents calmly. I'll send you the contact information for the business consultant. His name is Marcus Webb. He's excellent. He helped 3 companies restructure last year. All 3 are now profitable. We don't want your consultant. Dad yelled. Then you don't want help. You want rescue. Those aren't the same thing. I walked to the door. Turn back. When you're ready to have a real conversation about solutions instead of just demanding money, call me. Until then, I'll be in my $3.2 million condo that you don't own. I left. The call started at 6:47 a.m. the next morning. Mom, Maya, we need to talk. Call me immediately. Kevin, what you did yesterday was unbelievable. Call Mom. Ashley, please just help them. I know you're hurt, but they're desperate. I silenced my phone and went to work. By noon, I had 23 missed calls and 47 text messages. The messages got progressively more desperate. Mom, 8:15 a.m., the bank called. We need to make a payment by Wednesday. Kevin, 9:30 a.m., I talked to some colleagues. They said you're right about bankruptcy, but Mom won't hear it. Ashley, 10:45 a.m., Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. Please. Mom, 11:20 a.m., we can negotiate. You can set terms. Just please help us. I responded to one message. Kevin's. Me, Marcus Webb's number, 20655500147. He's expecting their call. I've already paid his consultation fee. Kevin, they won't call him. Me, then they don't want solutions. I returned to my client work. Portfolio review for a CTO who just received a $2 million stock grant. He needed tax strategy. This was what I was good at. This was what I'd built. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Maya Chen. Miss Chen, this is Marcus Webb. I just received a call from your parents. My heart rate picked up. They called you. Your father did. Brief conversation. He wanted to know if you'd paid me to tell them to file bankruptcy. What did you say? That I haven't reviewed their books yet and wouldn't make recommendations without data. He hung up. Of course he did. Thank you for trying, I said. For what it's worth, your offer was generous. Most children wouldn't pay for professional help after being treated the way you described. They're still my parents. They're lucky you remember that. By Wednesday, the messages changed tone. Dad, the bank is starting foreclosure proceedings on the house. I hope you're happy. Not happy, said Ashley. Affirm. I didn't respond. Thursday afternoon, Ashley showed up at my building. The doorman called up. There's an Ashley Chen here to see you. Send her up. He walked into my condo and just stared. Really looked at it for the first time. Maya, this is incredible. Thank you. I never really saw it before. I mean, I knew it was nice, but... You saw what you expected to see. What they told you to see. She sat on my designer couch. Probably $8,000. She didn't know that. They're going to lose everything, she said quietly. Probably. You really won't help? I offered help. They refused it. Money, Maya. They need money. How much? She blinked. What? How much do they need? Specific number. Dad said maybe $400,000 to clear the immediate debts and keep the business going another year. And next year. What? Next year, when that money's gone and nothing's changed, how much will they need then? Ashley didn't answer. That's why I won't write a check, I said. Because it's not a solution. It's a delay. And in 12 months, we'd have this exact conversation again, except I'd be $400,000 poorer and they'd resent me anyway. Why would they resent you? Because I'd have saved them. And every day after, they'd have to live with the fact that their failure daughter rescued them. That's a pill they'll never swallow. Ashley stared at her hands. You've thought about this a lot. For 6 years I've been waiting for them to see me. Really see me. Not the version they wanted. Not the disappointment. The actual person I became. They never did. Maybe because you hid it. I didn't hide it. I stopped trying to prove it. There's a difference. She stood to leave. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. About how they treated you. How we all treated you. Thank you. But I still think you should help them. I know you do. After she left, I pulled up my financial planning software. Ran scenarios. If I gave them $400,000, my net worth would drop from $4.7 million to $4.3 million. Still comfortable. Still secure. But it wouldn't fix anything. I'd learned from my clients that throwing money at structural problems never works. They'd come to me with failing investments, over-leveraged positions, businesses bleeding cash. The ones who survived weren't the ones who got rescued. They were the ones who faced reality and rebuilt. My parents needed to face reality. I wasn't going to rob them of that lesson. 6 weeks later, Kevin called. "They're filing Chapter 11, he said. "Business bankruptcy." "That's the right choice. They're losing the house too. Can't afford the mortgage. Where will they go?" Ashley and her husband offered their guest house. "It's small. But it's family." "Yeah." Silence on the line. "Maya, I owe you an apology. A real one. We all do." "Thank you. I looked into what you do. Read about your firm. You're really successful. Like legitimately. I didn't know. I tried to tell you. We didn't listen. We saw what we wanted to see. What we needed to see to feel superior. That admission meant more than money could." "How are they doing?" I asked. "Angry. Embarrassed. Mom won't leave Ashley's guest house. Dad's been applying for jobs. It's rough. It'll get better." "Will it?" "If they learn from it, yes." 2 months after that, I received a letter. Handwritten. From Mom. "Maya, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't know if I'd forgive me. Marcus Webb was right. The business was dying and I couldn't see it. Your father and I lived in denial for years. We spent money we didn't have to maintain an image that didn't matter. He tried to tell us. I remember now. Little comments over the years about changing markets, digital strategy, financial planning. We dismissed all of it because accepting your advice meant accepting you knew more than us. That terrified me. I wanted you to be the one who needed us. The one who proved we were still important, still wise, still in control. When you succeeded without us, it felt like rejection. But you didn't reject us. We rejected you. Your father and I are living in a 600-square-foot guest house. He's working as a marketing consultant for a startup. I'm doing freelance social media management. The irony isn't lost on me. We make $85,000 combined now. It's the most honest money we've earned in a decade. I don't know if we'll ever have a real relationship. But I wanted you to know I see you now. I see what you built. I see how strong you had to be to succeed while we tried to convince you that you were failing. I'm sorry. I read the letter 3 times. Then I called Marcus Webb. If they wanted to take business classes, community college, or online courses, would you recommend any? Several. Are you paying? Anonymously. Through a scholarship fund. That's kind of you. They're still my parents. I set up a $50,000 education fund in their names. Sent the information through Marcus. Told him not to reveal the source. They'd learn eventually. Or not. Either way, I'd done what I could. 3 months later, I saw Dad at a coffee shop near my condo. He was sitting with a laptop, video call in progress, clearly working. He looked smaller somehow. Older. But also more present. Our eyes met across the cafe. He closed his laptop. Walked over. "Maya. Dad. I'm working with a client. Startup launch. They needed marketing strategy." "That's great." "It is actually. It's different than before. Honest work. Fair pay." We stood in awkward silence. "Your mother told you about the letter?" he asked. "She did. I should have written one too. I was ashamed." "I understand." "No, you don't. You're 34 and more successful than I ever was. You did it without help, without connections, without anyone believing in you. And I spent years trying to convince you that you were failing. You were protecting your ego. I was being cruel." I nodded. "Yes. You were." He flinched but didn't argue. "But you're learning now," I added. "That counts for something." "Does it count enough?" "I thought about that. Ask me in a year." He smiled sadly. "That's fair." He went back to his table. I got my coffee. As I left, I glanced back. He was working again. Focused. Engaged. Maybe he'd make it. Maybe they both would. But either way, I'd learned the most important lesson. I didn't need their approval to be successful. I didn't need their validation to know my worth. I'd built something real. Something mine. And that $3.2 million condo? Every time I walked through the door, it reminded me, I was never the family failure. I was the one who succeeded despite them. That's a different thing entirely.